I end these podcasts with a challenge. Ask the guest for a challenge of the audience to do something and take the action from the hour and a half we've spoke. Does a challenge come to mind?
Define the input-output equation that gets you closer to where you want to go. And then 10x the input. So whatever your thing is, like if you're like, I want to be an editor, I want to be an agency owner, I want to be a whatever the thing is, the first thing you have to do is figure out the input-output equation, which is what do I have to do that will get me closer to where I want to go? Step one. If you can't define your input-output equation, then you need to define your input-output equation because otherwise you're working for no goal. Once you define that, then do 10 times more. This is the flyer story. Like you might be doing the right stuff. You might be working out, but you're working out 5 minutes a week and being like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. It's like, you're not even close. You're like, no, I think I need to double it to 10 minutes a week. It's like, no, you're not even close. But the thing is in fitness, we have some context, right? But in business, you have no idea. And that's the big disconnect, is that people might be doing the right stuff, but doing the wrong amount. They're doing way too little of it. And they think in doubles, not in orders of magnitude, as in 10x, 100x. But like you want to make 100 times more money than you are, you need 100 times more input. Like, hold on, I'm going to hit this home real quick because this is important. I have right now 10,000 times the input that I used to have when I was running my gyms. I just have leverage on my input. And so, for example, I could do 200 cold calls a day. I could double that to get to 400 cold calls a day. I could also do 200 cold calls a day to get someone to recruit for me. And then that person starts, I'm going to rewind real quick. So I could do 200 cold calls a day and get a certain amount of sales. The next level is I could go get somebody to do those 200 phone calls for me. And then I make the same amount of sales, but I don't do anything. More leverage. Another leverage above that is I go do 200 phone calls a day until I get a recruiter. And then that recruiter brings me a new person every week. And then every week I get another added 200 phone calls per day that keeps stacking and the number of customers that comes from that. But what did I do there? I made calls for a week to get one recruiter. And then from that point going forward, every single month I get more and more sales. And so that's 3 levels of leverage. There are more than that. And so what you unlock in the game of entrepreneurship is leverage. And the way that you unlock leverage is through relinquishing control. And so the tough part about the entrepreneurial journey is that the thing that got you to quit your job is the very thing that you have to stop doing. And so what happened is you felt out of control. And so you quit your job so you could take complete control of your life. And when you're self-employed, you take complete control. You hunt, you kill, you produce, you do everything, right? And then the thing that you got the big, massive reward for, because you quit your job, you started making money, living life your own terms, you now have to unlearn that. And you have to say, now I'm going to give up control again. And then the rest of the journey is unlearning the control that you so hardcore were rewarded for in that first action. Because in the beginning, you have to give up doing production or doing delivery, right, on the back end. And then you have to give up doing admin work. And then you have to give up doing sales. And then you have to give up doing marketing. Then you have to give up doing management. Then you have to give up doing leadership. Then you have to give up doing financing. Then you have to you have to give up all these things until eventually you're like, but I'm not needed. And then you have to give up the desire to be needed by your business. Mm-hmm. Because many people make their business to fulfill personal desires. But the business doesn't need to do that. It doesn't exist for you. It exists for the customer. You're not required. You think you are because it makes you feel more important. And so that's the unlearning experience, and that's where leverage comes from. And so right now, to answer the question, the challenge for the people is figure out what the input-output equation is and do 10 times more. And if you can figure out how to do 10 times more, figure out how to do 100 times more. And the secret is that if you're trying to do 100 times more, it's probably not just you.
Real quick, I'm going to show you the exact 10-stage roadmap from 0 to 100 million plus that less than 1% of companies finish. I've now done multiple times. And so I can say with a lot of confidence that these are the stages as headcount increases that you need to get through. And I broke each of these down by 8 different functions of the business, what the constraint feels like what are the symptoms of it when you're going through it, and then what steps we actually took to graduate. And we've done this across software, physical products, service businesses, brick and mortar, all of this, and it works. And it's my gift to you. It's absolutely free. And so the link's in the description, but you just go acquisition.com/roadmap, just enter your info, and it'll spit it right back to you, all free.